All right, good afternoon. Welcome to another Tech Talk Tuesday, and with a heavy focus on Cybersecurity Awareness Month. Today, we're going to talk about phishing, smishing, and vishing, and all that's related to that. So let's get into it. But before I start, if there's any questions, feel free to jump in at any time. I do have a couple of course, a couple of free resources towards the end of this video or towards the end of this webinar. So you might want to hang out for as long as you can. But first, let's start with the definition of phishing. Phishing is a type of cyber scam where fraudsters attempt to trick individuals into giving out sensitive information such as passwords, credit card numbers, or bank account details. This is often done by masquerading as a trustworthy entity in electronic communications like emails or messages. We're going to go through all of that. For small businesses, this might mean receiving an email that looks like it's from a trusted vendor, bank, or service provider like Microsoft or Google, but is actually a deceitful attempt to gather vital business information or gain unauthorized access to systems, which is usually the case. They want to gain access to your systems to steal data because that data is worth a ton of money on the dark web. We're going to focus mostly on three types of phishing today. We're going to talk about email phishing, which pretty much everybody's familiar with at this point. Some scary statistics we'll talk about shortly, but I'm going to share one that I don't have in this presentation. That is 90% of ransomware attacks start with phishing. So ransomware means your data is encrypted, you have no access to anything in your business, and more than likely they've stolen it. But then you have smishing, which is a form of phishing that uses text messages. SMS is the technical jargon for text messaging, and so that's where smishing comes from. And that's to deceive recipients. The term smishing is derived from SMS, short message service. I can never remember what SMS stands for, but there it is, short message service, the technical term for text messaging. And phishing in a smishing attack, individuals receive fraudulent text message prompting them to take some actions such as clicking on a link, calling a phone number. And we're going to talk about how calling a phone number actually has a higher success rate when these things happen, or providing sensitive information. These messages often mimic legitimate organizations and create a sense of urgency or panic to manipulate the recipient into responding. And I'm going to show you some examples later, but one that's been floating around, and I do have an example of that, is the USPS saying that your package, the address couldn't be read, and they're holding your package. You'll see that shortly. That one, for some reason, has exploded more recently. And here's another example, one claiming to be from a bank, warning the recipient about suspicious activity on their account, urging them to click a link or call a number. When you call the number, they will pretend to be the fraud department for that bank, and that has a much higher success rate of stealing money from the victim than if it's just a text message or an email alone. In reality, the link might lead to a malicious website designed to steal login credentials, or phone number might connect to scammers posing as bank representatives. And vishing, which is phone calls, voice, V for voice, it's a combination of the words voice, and phishing is a form of phishing where fraudsters use phone calls, either live or automated, to deceive individuals into providing sensitive information. These scammers often pose as representatives from legitimate organizations such as banks, government agencies. You get a lot of IRS calls. Soon they'll start coming. Sometimes Social Security calls. I've seen calls claiming to be police department, claiming that a relative is has been arrested. All kinds of crazy stuff. So, an attempt to manipulate or scare the victim into sharing personal, financial, or security information over the phone. In a vishing attempt, a scammer might claim there's a problem with the victim's bank account or a credit card and request account details to verify the victim's identity. And this is how it works with combining the different methods, the smishing and the vishing. They will now ask you, as an example, to Zelle $500 to a phone number to confirm that it's your account. And a lot of times it'll be your own phone number because you haven't claimed your phone number on a Zelle account. You've only claimed your email address. And then they, of course, you think it went through and you think the money's going into your own account, and now they've stolen your money because the phone is attached to a different account. And sometimes what they'll do is they'll gain access to your computer, steal data, and put malware on your computer. I've seen that happen too. What often happens more now than ever is they will combine different phishing methods. So the attackers often use multifaceted approaches that combine different types of phishing techniques to increase their chances of success. And I don't know the numbers, I don't have them in front of me, but it is a significant increase in success rate when they combine methods of phishing. So it could be email and then phone call followed up by phone call, or smishing, text message followed up by phone call. You might get a text message that says, "Did you authorize this transfer, a Zelle transfer for $1,000?" And of course, you're going to panic and say, "No, that wasn't me." So you'll respond with a no, and they will instantly call you pretending to be the fraud department at the bank, and that's how they get you. You're panicking about losing money, and now they're stealing it. By integrating various attacks, they can exploit multiple channels of communication and craft intricate scams. And here's an example: phishing email with follow-up phishing call. So in this scenario, the victim receives a phishing email claiming there's an issue with their bank account. Soon after they get a phishing call from an employee of the same bank, which is really the scammer, emphasizing the urgency mentioned in the email and requesting sensitive information or actions. Again, this could happen with text message as well. So that's just one example. A common one, but it's just one. Some statistics for you: 47.2%. There's been a 47.2% increase in phishing attacks in 2022. Obviously 2023 is not over yet, so we don't have numbers for this year yet, but it is increasing yet again. So 47.2 increase over 2021. Education was the most targeted industry in 2022, with attacks increasing by 576%. So I have a question. Does anybody know what the second most targeted industry is? I was a little shocked to learn education was the most targeted, but second most targeted. Put it in the chat or... Well, it's finance. The third, healthcare, and the fourth, manufacturing. And tech is on that list too, but it's a little further down. 83% of all companies experience a phishing attack each year, and I would venture to say that it's probably higher than that. Real estate would fall under finance, Lou, so you're sort of right. And then there's been a 345% increase in unique phishing sites between 2020 and 2021. That number, I couldn't get a more recent number. That number may be down a little bit because a lot of that was fake COVID sites. So what we're going to talk about today, we're going to understand phishing a little better than we do now. We're going to talk about smishing. This is SMS-based threats, vishing, voice-based attacks, real-world examples. I have a bunch of those, and prevention and best practices. So before we start that, quick poll. Correct. I say correct because everybody's receiving phishing emails, and so that's 100% across the board here. Everybody's receiving phishing emails, and actually, I can't speak for all the email providers, but I can tell you with Microsoft and Google, they will block out 80 to 90% of it. So what you're getting is just 10 to 20% of what gets sent to you. So you can imagine the amount of phishing email you're really getting. So let's talk more about phishing. So deceptive emails aiming to steal personal information, or they may be aiming to install malware on your computer. And the goal there being they install malware, most likely that'll create a backdoor for them to get into your system later. And then once they're in your system, they're going to see what else they can get into on the network. So if you have, your workstation, you're thinking, oh, who cares if they're on my workstation? There's nothing here. All the data's on the server. Well, they will connect and then try to break into the server, and more than likely they'll succeed. And they will move around in the network for a little while, and they can, in some instances, they've been known to stay on the network for years before they actually launch the ransomware attack. They're going to steal as much information, see what else they can get into before they move on with the ransomware attack. So that's also how that happens. So you could download a Word document, an Excel document, a PDF, and they could contain malicious files or malicious. They could be malicious in nature and could do some damage. Or they may just use your computer as a bot, and that could be used for a bigger attack somewhere else. They may steal your email accounts and use those to attack someone else. I just had this conversation this morning where smaller businesses think, well, we only have 5 email accounts. Nobody's going to bother us. Well, that's not true. They want those email accounts so they can attack a bigger account somewhere else. They will use deceptive URLs. So there's could be URLs that look like the real thing. It could be Microsoft.com, but instead of an O, they put a 0. Instead of an I, they put a 1. Or they use Cyrillic letters. It could be impersonating trusted entities, pretending to be M&T Bank or pretending to be the IRS, things like that. The IRS does not, or Microsoft, they do not proactively email or call people. The IRS does not send emails at all. And it could be an urgent request. Often they will play on emotion. They will try to scare you into doing something. So it could be fear of missing out on something. It could be fear of losing money. It could be fear of, somebody in your family injured. It could be any number of things that they could use. Fear of losing your email accounts and all the data that goes with it. All of these things could be used to try to trick you into doing something. And so I always tell people, we'll get to how to protect yourself against these things. But one of the things I tell people all the time is, if the email elicits a strong fear, wait, don't do anything until you had a few minutes to think about it. This one was sent, I'm not going to say it was sent, but I will say they should recognize this. I did block out the name. I don't want to, I did not block out the name. I'm sorry, Margarita. But I blocked out the email address. But it says, so first of all, it says it's a Microsoft email that her email inbox is almost full. Problem number one is it doesn't come from Microsoft. You can see here it says usssa.com. And then it says that the email box is 2.83 gigs. That's too small for a Microsoft email. It should be 50 gigs, maybe more, but never less than 50 gigs. So 2 causes for concern here, 2 reasons to believe this is not true. Another thing that I want to point out here is, you see this red line here? This is not normally here. This is something that we add in for our clients to know that this email did not come from within the organization, because sometimes you'll get impersonation attempts. So somebody within your organization might send you an email saying, can you go purchase gift cards for a client or something like that? This has happened. I see this a lot, actually. So we put this messaging on all of our clients' emails so that when they receive it from outside the organization, they know it came from outside the organization. It's not somebody internally. This helps avoid impersonation attempts. Then above that, this is something Microsoft just started doing. So it says you don't often get mail from noreply@usssa.com. This is also a nice addition to Microsoft, because now they're telling you, you don't normally get emails from this person. You might want to pay attention to what it's saying, what they want you to do, and be careful with it. This here, I actually found in my spam folder in my Google account, and it's claiming to be FBI Director Mr. Christopher A. Wray. I'm not even sure who the FBI Director is. I didn't look it up, but I know this is fake, so didn't even waste my time. And I don't know if you can see that, but it's telling me telling you greetings. First of all, I don't think the FBI is going to say greetings in an email, but further down you can see, and they're telling me I won some money. And then further down, you can see that they want full name, home address, available, number, city, country, nearest airport. I don't know why they want that, but date of birth and so forth. And the email is actually longer than that. They want more information than that. This one should be pretty obvious to people at this point. First of all, it comes from an Outlook address. It doesn't even come from the FBI, but you can see it says FBI, Google, and I forgot the E, probably because Google would flag it, at outlook.com. The FBI is not going to email people from outlook.com. If they have an issue with something, they're going to call you. They probably have your phone number, so I wouldn't worry about them finding it. This one is going to, I brought this one up because I believe today starts the Prime Day. I don't know what they're calling it this time, but it's similar to Prime Day. And so they have all these specials going on. And you have this email that came supposedly from Amazon.com with some Black Friday deals. So I didn't click on it, but I can almost guarantee you what's going to happen is you're going to click on it. It's going to take you to a page that looks like Amazon. It's going to ask you to log in, and they're going to steal your credentials to your Amazon account. But what's the problem with this? So you can see here, it didn't come from Amazon. It came from apponline.info. It Prime Day for the next 2 days. I think they named it something different, but it's similar to Prime Day. It does not have your name. So this is another, Amazon and all those services have the ability to tag the email so it includes your name. So it should say, dear, Scott Gumber. I don't remember which email, or dear Scott. I don't remember which email account this was, but it should have my name in there. And this actually says 2020. This was sent to me. Or maybe this is, I found this on the internet. That's right. I found this on the internet, but this was from 2020. And so this Black Friday is here. It's going to be similar to this. So Prime Day is here. They're going to send, the scammers are going to send fake emails that look like they're coming from Amazon. It has the logo, but it didn't come from the Amazon website. And it doesn't include your name. It should have your name. If you, I can almost guarantee almost all of us are logged into Amazon throughout the day. And if you click on a link and ask you to log in, then you can almost guarantee it's not real. This one came from another client. And this is a newer one that's going around. So Microsoft 2FA policy. So this is where Microsoft does enforce two-factor authentication now. You can disable it, but by default, they enforce it now. And so what that means is when you log in, there's going to be a second form of authentication. You put in your password, and then most people will have an app on their phone where they approve the second login, the second form of authentication. So this is saying, dear user, again, notice there's no personalization there. Your authenticator session is expiring. Kindly re-authenticate to avoid being locked out of your email account. Quickly scan the QR code. So this is why we tell people don't scan QR codes, unsolicited QR codes. If you're in a restaurant and that's how they bring up the menu, that's okay. But this is bad news. And the reason they're using a QR code instead of a link, because I can hover over the link in an email and see where it actually goes. I can't do that with a QR code. Now I scan the QR code and it takes me to a fake Microsoft website where it asks me to authenticate. And so I log in. They're probably paying attention, and they're going to text you and ask you for the authentication code, the second factor of authentication. I've seen people fall for this, where they give the second factor of authentication and they lose the entire account. So how do we spot this? So first of all, it didn't come from Microsoft. It came from go.isop.org. I don't even know what that is, but did not come from Microsoft. It did not include for any personalization. Again, just like Amazon, they know your name. They're going to put a tag in there that says Dear Scott or Dear whoever. And it originated, so we got this message, it originated outside the network, so we know it wasn't sent internally. Oh, authenticator session. There's no such thing. There's no such thing as an authenticator session. Authentication, second form of authentication is temporary. If you're using an app, it's only good for 30 seconds. And then it starts over again. They will not send you QR codes. They will not ask you to re-authenticate in an email. They will also not do this in Teams. This is another popular method being used in Teams. They pretend to be Microsoft rep and message you in Teams. So for some clients, I've actually turned off outside, if it's applicable, I've turned off unauthenticated Teams conversations. Then we have smishing, and this one is growing. So phishing by far is, email phishing by far is the most common method of phishing at this point. But smishing is growing, and so is vishing. And you've probably received, matter of fact, let's find out. You've probably received phishing, smishing text messages at this point. Yeah, that's what I figured. So everybody has. Sometimes they're easy to spot, and sometimes they're not. So again, aiming to deceive recipients, pretending to be a bank or service provider, that's a very common one. The banks, I always crack up when a bank that I don't use sends me one, but they try, promising prizes or gifts or asking for urgent account verification. And then I also get a lot of loan people texting me about loans, which is odd. I don't know why, but I do. And here's the one I was talking about earlier, the USPS, but actually I may have more than one of these. So this one came from a phone number. I have another one that came from an email address, but it's out of country area code. So it's the United States Postal Service, but it's coming from 63, not area code, country code. I'm not even sure what that is, but it's not the United States. And so they want me to go to this website, which maybe if you're not paying attention, you could fall for it. And it says CN, so that I believe is China. Based on that name, I would think it probably is China. But if you're not paying attention, you just see USPS and then .cn, you might think that's .com and click on it. But they also want you to reply why. It's a little extra here. Then exit the SMS, open the SMS activation link again, or copy the link to Safari. So it's a lot of work to actually do it. And you can see I like to toy with these people a little bit. USPS is, first of all, they probably don't have your phone number, but if they do, I don't think they're going to send you a text message saying that your package can't be delivered. It's going to return it to sender. This one, this is the start of something I talked about last week, a romance scam that will eventually turn into what we call pig butchering in the industry. And we'll try to get you to invest on a fake crypto platform or a fake currency platform or a fake precious metals platform. I've seen all of them and probably others that I'm not thinking of at the moment. Stocks and things like that. So hi, good morning. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Are you still in office? It always starts out like this. I didn't even bother starting with this one. But I have videos on YouTube where I actually carried one out for 2 weeks to see what it would do. And eventually, so they'll start talking to you. They'll pretend they were trying to reach someone else. Then they'll carry on the conversation and eventually try to get you to switch the conversation to WhatsApp. And then they'll carry on from there, creating this romance and eventually try to get you to invest on a fake platform. They'll get you to put money into this platform. They'll even show you where you're making money. It's not real. You're not really making money. They're stealing your money. And people have gotten scammed out of millions of dollars on these things. So this is a real problem. It's a growing problem. But it's happening. And I think I have one with an actual picture of a woman too on here somewhere. This one was sent to a bunch of people. So that's first red flag for me. Area code again, I'm not sure what the area code is, but this was a red flag right away. Anything with cryptocurrency, just stay away from it. Okay, here's the USPS again, but this time it is an email address, an iCloud, so anybody can get an iCloud account. It's free, just like Google, just like Gmail or Yahoo. It's pretty much the same message, but a different link. I don't know why they make it so complicated. That's kind of weird, but. And here's one, the first thing that this person sent me was an image. And then this is what I mean. Hi, Dorothy, it's me, Daisy. If you have some free time, I would like to invite you to have dinner with me. And so I always say, hey, Daisy, how are you? And then they say, I'm fine, thanks for asking. Eventually, they'll continue the conversation pretending I didn't say I'm Daisy. They'll say, oh, I'm sorry, I thought I was talking to Daisy, even though I said I'm Daisy. And that's a red flag. But it's always the green text. So if you use iOS, blue text is iOS. They never use an iPhone or iOS. They always use, I think they're using a web platform. So it's almost always green text. Or I've never seen it any color but green. And then you have vishing. And so I have a recording I'll share with you in a moment of one. It's a little harder for me to catch these, but I did catch one. It actually started out with an email from pretending to be from Geek Squad that I think it was Geek Squad that I purchased Norton antivirus maybe, or McAfee, something like that. So phone calls aiming to extract personal information, and usually they will. So that you use more of the common ones are the tech support calls, the IRS calls. This is more of the tech support one that you're going to hear. They're threatening immediate action a lot of the times. They will be threatening. I've gotten somewhere they say you're going to be arrested in the next 10 minutes if you don't pay your back taxes in the tens of thousands of dollars. And we're going to freeze your bank accounts and all of those things. And then asking to verify personal details. They will also, if it is a tech support scam, they will also try to gain access to your computer a lot of the time. And that's when they'll install the malware and so forth. So this is the video.
Thanks for calling me. My name is Sam. I'm going to help you. I'm calling you because I got this receipt for payment for $489, but I didn't make any purchase for $489. Okay. So for the cancellation, first of all, you need to be with your computer. So are you on a computer right now? Yeah, I'm at a computer. Hello? And can you tell me like what the brand name of the computer is? Is it Apple or Windows? It's a Windows computer. I don't understand though. I didn't. What does that have to do with anything? All right. The thing is that we need to go ahead and generate the cancellation ID for you on your computer. So, do you have Google Chrome on your computer? I do. Please open up that. It's open. Okay. Now, on the Google Chrome, in the very top, do you see there will be a long rectangular search bar where you can search the web? No, I just have an address bar. Sorry? Where I type in the address? Yeah. Okay. Now, typing over there, www dot. Then the letter T, E as in tiger. Okay. Then E as in English. Okay. Then A as in apple. Okay. M as in Michael. Okay. V as in Victor. Yeah. I as in ice cream. Okay. E as in English. Yeah. W as in Washington. Okay. E as in English. Okay. Then R as in Roger. Okay.
then give a .com, .com.
So teamviewer.com?
Not T. After www dot, there will be the letter T. T as in Texas.
Go to
T as in text. Yes, I want you to go to teamviewer.com.
That's for remote access to my computer. Why do I need that?
The thing is that, sir, with the help of this TeamViewer, you will be getting your cancellation ID.
Why can't you just
And
cancel it
after
with
that-
the account I gave you? That you claim you took the payment out of the checking account. Why can't you just cancel it through that?
No, sir, but we need to generate the cancellation ID. Once I have that cancellation ID, I'm going to put that cancellation ID on our server, and after that, your subscription will be canceled.
Or why do you need access to my computer to do that?
Sir, you will be getting the access of our cancellation server. And once your subscription will be canceled, your TeamViewer will be removed from your computer. Like you don't need to go and uninstall it. It will be deleted automatically from the computer.
It will be deleted automatically?
Yes.
I'm actually in IT and I know this is a scam. I just want to get this recording so I can put it on, yeah, that's what I thought.
So he wasn't too happy with me. They never are too happy when I'm done with them. Always verify the code. So this was me calling because I got an email saying that I purchased I forgot what it was already. Symantec, I think it was Symantec for $489. And if they ask you to go, first of all, TeamViewer is used quite a bit. It's a legitimate tool. It is used in IT. I don't use it. But some IT providers do, but it's also used a lot in scams. So if they're asking you to go to TeamViewer, I would avoid it. There are other tools. Another common one used in scams is AnyDesk. Try to stay away from that one. Always verify the caller's identity. Clearly, I could tell that this person was not from Geek Squad. The email, I wish I had an image of it. I don't have it. But you've probably seen them yourself. You've probably gotten them. They don't even look legitimate. I just want, yeah, he was yelling at me. They just want to scam you. And so some of the phishing methods, the less sophisticated phishing methods, they call it the spray and pray method. And that's just, they're just sending a bunch of messages to try to scam you. As many, they're trying to get as many as they can. And if you've ever received an email that is blank, they're just testing to see if the email address works. But always verify the caller's identity. Be cautious of unsolicited calls. Never provide personal information to unsolicited callers. IRS is not going to call you. They will never call you. They will send you mail from the post office, through the post office, I should say. They will, the Social Security Department, the same thing. Those places don't call people. Microsoft and Apple do not call people. That happens a lot too. They do not call people. I have done a few rounds with those scammers before. I wish I've recorded those, but they don't proactively call people. If Microsoft determines that you are somehow broadcasting malicious stuff, they're going to have the FBI reach out to you, and they'll probably just show up at your door. So some best practices, prevention and best practices for phishing. Never click on suspicious links. In reality, I would never click on links unless you know for sure it's safe. If you're not sure, then the best thing you could do is call the person who sent it. And the same goes for attachments. Don't download attachments unless you can confirm it's safe. Verify the sender's email address. Look at the email address. If it says it came from Scott at, I don't know, outlook.com, that's not me. And this is, by the way, this is one of the reasons, besides from a branding perspective, one of the reasons I tell businesses you should use a legitimate business email. So at your business name, not at Gmail or at Outlook, is for that reason alone, because people are going to be less trusting of those emails. Use email filters and security solutions. There's tons of them out there. Use two-factor authentication and multi-factor authentication. By default, Microsoft enforces it. Again, it can be turned off. I would not recommend it. Google does not. So if you're using Google Workspace, they do not enforce it. I don't believe across the board yet. I think they're implementing it now, but you can turn it on. And then check with the sender via phone or text if you're still unsure. Don't respond to the email because, of course, the scammer is going to say, yeah, that's me. Don't respond to unknown text messages. Don't be like me. I do it all the time because I like to mess with people. I like to mess with the scammers. But don't respond to them. They're also could be checking to see if the phone number works. Be wary of unsolicited calls. I would even say if you don't recognize the number, don't answer it. That's pretty much where I'm at this point. Verify identities before sharing information. Never give the last four of your social security or other sensitive information out. The problem with giving out the last four of your social is if they already know roughly where you were born and when you were born, they've already got the rest of your social security number. So don't give out the last four. I haven't had it in a while, but I used to get phone calls from people that say they have a sensitive business information for me, and they would say, we just need you to verify the last four of your social. And I always refuse to. You don't need to give them this information. And in text messages, never click links. Before I go to the free stuff, any questions? It looks like Lou left. Okay, so I got two freebies. The first one is an ebook created a few years ago. 11 steps to mitigate the risk of phishing attack. It's at bit.ly/bizcardnt. If you're writing that down, I'll give you a moment. The other thing I will say is that phishing attacks and even smishing attacks are going, and even vishing attacks are going to get more sophisticated because of AI. It's already happening. And as soon as more deepfakes as soon as deepfakes are readily available, you can just about guarantee you're going to get phone calls from people that sound like somebody you actually know. But it's already happening in email. It's already happening in text messaging. And the other thing, this is a little bit newer, 12 ways to protect against ransomware attacks, bit.ly/12waysnt. It's a infographic, so not a whole book, one page. And like always, if you want to follow us or see what we're up to, we've been posting all month for Cybersecurity Awareness this month. So we have lots of stuff on all the socials, but it's at Nuage Tech for everything: Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And actually, that video I just shared was on TikTok. I have my own TikTok. It's not for Nuage. I don't think it's Nuage Tech.